On the morning of June 10, 1912, in the sleepy town of Villisca, Iowa, a neighbor noticed something strange. The house next door, usually bustling with the sound of children, was eerily silent. She knocked. No answer. She opened the door. What she found would forever shatter the town's innocence. This is the story of the Villisca Axe Murders, one of America's most brutal, unsolved mass killings. The Moore family was well-liked in Villisca. Josiah B. Moore, known as Joe, was a successful businessman. His wife, Sarah, was active in the local church. They had 4 children: Herman, 11, Catherine, 10, Boyd, 7, and Paul, just 5 years old. On the evening of June 9, 1912, the Moore family attended a Children's Day service at the Presbyterian Church. Along with them were 2 young girls, Lena and Ina Stillinger, friends of Catherine's who were invited for a sleepover. By 9:30 p.m., the house was dark. By morning, 8 people would be dead. The crime was discovered by Mary Peckham, the Moores' neighbor. She called Joe's brother and the town marshal. What they found inside the house was something out of a nightmare. All 8 people were bludgeoned to death. 6 of them, Josiah, Sarah, and the 4 Moore children, were found in their beds. Lena and Ina Stillinger were discovered in the guest room. Lena, unlike the others, showed signs of defensive wounds, as if she woke up and fought for her life. And the weapon? It was found in the house. A bloodied axe, leaned against the wall in the guest bedroom. But it wasn't just the brutality of the murders that stunned investigators. It was the strange, ritualistic nature of the crime scene. All the mirrors in the house had been covered. All the victims' faces were draped with cloth. A slab of bacon, wrapped in cloth, was found on the floor near the axe. A plate of uneaten food sat at the kitchen table. There were no signs of forced entry. The killer had likely hidden in the attic, waiting. And after the murders, he stayed in the house for hours. In 1912, forensics were primitive. There were no fingerprints collected, no DNA. The crime scene was contaminated almost immediately. Curious townspeople wandered in, touching everything. What followed was a media circus, an avalanche of theories, and a string of suspects, but no convictions. In the weeks that followed, Villisca was no longer just a quiet farm town. It became the center of America's most horrifying murder mystery. No motive, no confessions, no convictions, but many suspects. The first major suspect was Reverend George Kelly, a traveling preacher, small in stature but known for bizarre behavior. He had been in Villisca that very night. He even attended the same Children's Day service as the Moores, just hours before the murder. Strangely, Kelly left town by train at 5:19 a.m., hours before the bodies were discovered. And even more bizarre, he later wrote letters to the police, obsessing over the murders. Then, in 1917, 5 years later, he confessed. But his confession was strange, inconsistent. And after 2 trials, the jury couldn't agree. Reverend Kelly walked free. Next came Frank Jones, a prominent Villisca politician. He had a long-standing business feud with Josiah Moore. Rumors swirled that he may have hired a killer. Even the Pinkerton Detective Agency was brought in. But there was no hard evidence, only whispers. And in the end, nothing stuck. Others blamed serial killers. The theory that the Villisca murders were part of a string of similar axe murders across the Midwest. From Kansas to Colorado, victims were killed in their sleep. Mirrors covered, lights out, same weapon, same silence. But no one was ever caught. The killer had vanished, like a ghost. Over 110 years have passed since that night, and yet the house still stands. Today, it's known as the Villisca Axe Murder House, a tourist attraction by day and a paranormal hotspot by night. Visitors claim to hear children's laughter, footsteps, doors that open and close on their own. Some say the spirits of the Moore family and the Stillinger girls never left. And maybe neither did the killer. 8 lives taken. No one held accountable. A house that remembers every scream. The Villisca Axe murders remain unsolved. But one question echoes through time. Was the killer ever really gone? Or did evil just change its face? Like, share, and subscribe to Dark Suspect, where every tragedy is told not as gossip, but as a human story that deserves to be remembered.